Students who are in their 11th and 12th are clueless about their career. I think every second day I get a call of parents who have children of even a 6-year-old or a 7-year-old.
That early?
It's very natural, and parents will see कि career scope कहाँ पे है. Let's push our child to take up that career. Today, if there's scope for engineering, engineer बन जाओ.
What is important is not to get carried away with just what is going to be the ultimate package, but what they really would like to do.
They also need to look at the maturity level of their child. Today's children are in a very cocoon environment and suddenly they're thrown into this unknown environment. So are they capable of coping up or not?
Welcome to The Big Leap with Study Smart. This is a brand new educational podcast dedicated to career counseling, higher education, international education opportunities, and the best part, how to get into those top ranked universities. Let's find out. Meet Chetan Jain, the visionary founder and managing director of Study Smart, a premier abroad education consultancy with offices all across India. Chetan himself started this journey as an international MBA student at the University of Cardiff in UK. Since then, he has amassed almost 2 decades of hands-on experience in the field of international education, having served as the country manager for top UK institutions like LSE Group of Colleges, University of Chester, and Anglia Ruskin University. Chetan has personally guided thousands of students on their international academic journey. Under his leadership, Study Smart has grown from a 3-member team to a 60-plus strong organization. Apart from work, Chetan is also actively involved in Jito and Roundtable India, where he passionately advocates for equal access to education for all. Chetan goes a step further and has ensured that underprivileged children get access to good quality education. Whether it's his entrepreneurial mindset, global perspective, or grounded values, Chetan Jain is definitely a powerful voice in the field of career counseling and international education to watch out for. Welcome to The Big Leap, Chetan.
Thanks a lot, and I'm really looking forward to this.
Chetan, most students today, I've observed, wait till around 11th or 12th grade to start mapping out their career journey. But according to you, what is the right time for career exploration?
Apurva, if you see, as per a recent survey, close to 64% of students who are in their 11th and 12th are clueless about their career, right? So I think waiting that long is a little too late. A student should ideally look at starting as early as his 8th grade or 9th grade to figure out what subjects they should be looking at and accordingly choosing what career they want to go for.
And if I had to start at the 8th or 9th grade, then what are the tools that parents have at their disposal for making these decisions?
Sure. So, firstly, early intervention is very important. And while we are seeing a trend that more and more students and parents are starting early, I think there still needs to be more awareness that they need to start early. Fortunately, the new age parents do have access to a lot of technology and a lot of tools that can help them with decision making, right? So, firstly, psychometric tests are very popular. There are biometric tests. There are various aptitude and personality tests that the students can take. There are now products which are giving a combination of all three as well. And while this is not an exact science, it does help students to narrow down their choices. And it becomes a validation that, okay, if I want to become an engineer, do I have the aptitude, the skills, and the personality to become an engineer or not? So it can work as a great validation tool, and it will help the students narrow down their choices and then further explore and be confident about the subject that they want to take up.
And it might take away the confusion factor that grows as you keep exploring more things without knowing what you are really capable of.
Of course, what also happens is that parents are equally confused. There's peer pressure coming in, right? And again, there's an overload of information out there on the internet.
Yes.
So it is important that they also speak to career counselors who are then kind of devising the whole report to them, helping them understand what are the different career outcomes they can have depending on the subjects they want to take, and give them that guidance and path. Starting early will give them the advantage of building on their profile. They'll have enough time to take up research and make the right choices at the right time to choose the right career path.
I think there's a lot to unpack here. So I'm going to take one point at a time and we can go deeper.
Yeah, sure.
So Chetan, we started out talking about the early career exploration idea, and that has become even more crucial with the new education policy coming into effect.
Right.
So how do you think the new education policy will impact the career of students?
So, Apurva, this is one of the biggest reforms that the government has come up with. Over 250 million students across India are going to get impacted by this. And I think this policy has again made career counseling and early intervention far more important, because now students have the option of choosing subjects as early as the 9th grade, unlike 11th grade previously, right? So early intervention has become more important and is giving students a lot of flexibility to choose subjects that they are interested in.
Yes.
So I think it's a positive change and people should look at intervening as early as they can.
You know, Chetan, there are around 70% students and parents who are making choices of those major and minor subjects based on the vocational or the job outcome. So, do you think this approach is right?
Yeah, Apurva, it's very natural and normally the case with parents where they'll see ki career scope kaap hai, let's push our child to take up that career. You know, today if there's scope for engineering, engineer ban jao. Very natural for parents to do that, but I don't think that's the right approach. Ideally, there are three pillars that need to be looked at when you're choosing a career in the subject that the child should be doing, because only if they choose the subject will they decide the career and vice versa. So number one, they need to look at the aptitude of the student. He may want to become an engineer, but does he have the aptitude and the skills required to become an engineer or not? Second is the interest level of the student, right? Is he interested in that subject or not? And thirdly, then look at the career scope for that particular subject or that particular career. What is the scope? You know, are there jobs available? Is it a promising career or not? And it needs to be a combination of all three. All three have to strike the right balance. Then it's a right choice, right? And again, the career counseling and the various tests that are available will highlight these three aspects for the students as well, so that the parents are able to make a more informed decision.
Right. So I think what is important is not to get carried away with just what is going to be the ultimate package or how my child is going to, but what they really would like to do.
Of course.
That is something that needs to be focused on more.
Of course. So, you know, there was a movie, right? कि घास काटने वाला बनो पर अच्छा घास काटने वाला बनो. So it's again the same thing, that it has to be a balance of all three for the child to actually excel.
With the new education policy in place, there are a lot of students who are scoring higher in their subjects of choice. So in this case, you know, what is it that universities or educational institutions are looking at?
Sure. We are seeing that the grades that the students are getting are constantly increasing, and more number of students are getting 90 plus, 95 plus, right? So as per a recent survey, again, almost 70% of QS ranked universities across the globe will also give a lot of importance to the student's profile over and above just the academics. This includes both Indian institutes as well as foreign institutes.
Okay. And when you say profile, could you give us a basic overview of what a profile is?
Sure. So universities are not only looking at pure academics, they're also looking at a 360-degree angle of what the student is, what kind of a personality he has, and what kind of extracurriculars he has done, right? So typically, if a student wants to build his profile and make it strong over the period of 2-3 years, then there are certain, you know, prescription that we can give him that, okay, these are the certain activities you can take up. So things like taking up short courses. There are fantastic websites like Coursera, Udemy that offer fantastic short courses. So students can take that up. Apart from that, they can do a lot of voluntary work for NGOs to show the humanitarian side, right? Also, any kind of extracurricular activities they're doing through the school, like elocution competitions, debate, maths Olympiads, robotic Olympiads, all that will also add value to their overall profile.
And is this important to, you know, for a student to start this early during their undergraduation or schooling or for post graduation? What is that window like?
Yeah, so I think they need to again start as early as possible, as early as maybe 7th standard or 8th standard, especially if they're targeting good universities for their undergrad program, right? What happens is a lot of students take it up just towards the closer time of their admission. So maybe in
Yes.
their 10th grade or 11th grade, they start working aggressively on their profile. But the university is seeing that it's a more of a last minute effort you're making. So it does not reflect the student's true personality. But today, if they're taking up extracurriculars and profile building as early as their 7th and 8th grade, they're kind of building a strong personality as well, which will be the differentiating factor between their application and the competition.
Starting early is the key for profile building. I got that. But what can a student do apart from the few tips that you've shared now? What more can they do if they're starting as early as the 7th grade?
Right. So there's a lot that students are doing these days, right? From publishing their own blogs to starting their own YouTube channel. All these aspects also help. Over and above that, core extracurricular like learning music instruments, taking up drama, being active in sports, right? So each and everything they do, which goes beyond their core academics, will work towards their profile building. And the sooner they start, the more they can actually cover.
Yes. So I think what I understand from this is universities are looking for a well-rounded personality.
100%.
And then how does this profile ultimately affect my admission chances?
Right. So if you see the demand supply gap is constantly increasing, which is making the admission process both for Indian universities and foreign universities far more competitive. You have a lot of students with similar grades. Now, if you have two students, both are on 95%,
Right.
both their grades are the same, which student does the university choose? Right. So they will go for a student who has a better profile. So that is where in a competitive admission pool, the profile will be the thing that gets them over the fence and gets
Right.
them that admit letter.
So it's ultimately the differentiator.
It is a big differentiator, yes.
I'm going to ask you a very tricky question now.
Bring it on.
Which is the right board?
So you'll be surprised to know that I think every second day I get a call of parents who have children of even a 6-year-old or a 7-year-old asking me what board should we put our children into.
That early?
That early, right? So I don't think there is a right board or a wrong board. I think it's what fits your child and what kind of career ambitions you have for your child will decide what board you should take, right? So let's break it down a little and tell you about each board and its merits and demerits also. So typically, if as a parent you're clear you want your child to study abroad, in a foreign country like US, UK, Australia, Canada, then they're better off taking the international boards.
Okay.
So among the international boards, they have IB and they have IGCSE, which are the two popular ones, right? So if they take up these boards, the transition for the students to international universities is much easier. At the same time, they start learning research very early in their life, right? And most foreign universities are very research oriented, which is unlike the Indian education system. So it's a natural choice to take an IGCSE or IB board for students who are looking to send their children abroad. Right now, coming to the Indian boards,
Yes.
right? So a lot of the Indian boards, particularly CBSE and ICSE board, are more aligned to the aptitude and the competitive exams that students have to give in order to get into Indian universities.
Yes.
Right. So today, if you're clear that you want your child to go to an IIT or take up NEET to do medicine, then they're better off taking CBSE or maybe ICSE because then their opportunities and the curriculum that they're studying is going to be more aligned to these competitive exams. Right. And I think somewhere state boards are now losing their significance and it's being used more for I would say the underprivileged. Or more for the regional areas of the state. But if you look at all the big cities, it's the central boards that are more popular and the international boards are getting more and more popular.
So I think it's very important that parents understand that you have to align the goals along with that board and not just run after whatever is the popular board or the more tough board.
Yeah. Again, it's a very confusing choice for parents because you're not only looking at the board, you're looking at the quality of the school as well.
Yes.
So sometimes you may have access to good boards, but maybe the school may not be as good as you want it to be for your child. And when you're choosing a school, there are multiple factors you're looking at, the kind of peer-to-peer interaction that the kids will have, the proximity from your residence. So multiple factors that play a role. But I think choosing the right board early is important. And again, we have seen a a trend of people switching the boards as well.
Yeah.
So, for example, what I have decided for my child, right? I want my child to take up an ICSE board for primary education because ICSE is an excellently rigorous board. So it will give them that academic excellence that they want to go for, but it's also a rigid board which gives limited flexibility. Then maybe after fifth standard onwards, I would want my child to go to an IB board which gives her more flexibility and at the same time is more aligned to international education. So parents can even do a combination depending on how they want their child to and what career path they want them to take.
This is very fascinating, and I think this is something that we should explore more in some of our upcoming episodes as well.
Sure, I'll be happy to do that.
Yeah. There's a very important choice that students and parents have today. That's the choice of whether they want to study in India or whether they want to study abroad. What do you think is the right path for these students?
Apurva, I don't think there's a right choice or a wrong choice in terms of choosing to study in India or studying abroad. It's a personal choice that the students and the parents need to make as to what suits them the most. But more than that, there are certain aspects that have to be considered when you're thinking of sending your child to study abroad. First and foremost, the financial aspect, right?
Yes.
It is expensive.
It is.
While there are a lot of cost-effective options available, there are education loans available, it still has a certain financial implication. So the parents need to figure out whether they can afford to send the child for undergrad and postgrad or only postgrad.
Yes.
Right. Secondly, they also need to look at the maturity level of their child. Right. Is the child emotionally and in an intellectual way capable of managing on their own? He's going to a new country where everything is different for him. And today's children are in a very cocoon environment and suddenly they're thrown into this unknown environment. So are they capable of coping up or not? So some parents may feel that, okay, my child is too young to send them away at an undergrad and may choose postgrad, right? So again, these are the two major factors that they need to consider before they decide what is better for them, India or abroad.
Right. And I think the cultural exposure that you spoke of, if you've grown up in a certain environment and when you go abroad, everything, for example, you're doing everything on your own. Are they even equipped enough to do that? So that is one thing that parents need to look at. But there are some recent statistics that I've seen that, for example, in 2024, 1.3 million Indian students were studying abroad. And in 2025, it's projected to go up to 1.5 million. So why is there a rise in that number?
Yeah, so certainly there are benefits of studying in a foreign country, and it is a dream for a lot of students, a lot of parents to send their children abroad. Certain benefits are like the exposure. The kind of exposure you're going to get in a foreign country, you're never going to get in your own country. The quality of education is better. There's more focus on practical learning, and also the curriculum that is on offer by these foreign universities far more industry relevant.
Okay.
Right? Moreover, the cultural diversity, the kind of lifestyle and the social experiences the children are going to have, they're going to become very independent, very confident. So there are definitely certain merits. And what also happens is that they get access to high-ranked quality universities also, which have a lot of global recognition.
Yeah. So I think it's very important that we consider all these factors when we're making that choice. So, what I understand is this is a very broad topic.
Sure.
And if possible, I would love to cover this at length in our next episode.
Absolutely, we can do that. But I would like to give a little bit of a closing remark on the insight in terms of why we are seeing this increase in the number of students going abroad. It's also an issue that we're facing at our country level, right? The K-12 education has grown a lot in India. We're one of the youngest population. So the number of students who are passing out of K-12 is constantly increasing. But our higher education is not able to catch up with that growth. And you can see more and more deserving students are not getting deserving universities in India, right? So they don't have an option but to look for abroad universities because admission and competition is much lesser abroad, right? So while a while ago it was a dream for a lot of students to go abroad, I think it's going to become a necessity in the near future.
Okay. So it's a very important topic, and I think it's definitely what we should be doing for episode number 2.
Great. I look forward to that. Thank you, Apurva.
Yeah. That's it from us today. Thank you for watching the first episode of The Big Leap. Chetan, thank you so much for being here. And to our viewers, please write in the comments below what are some other topics that you want Chetan to speak on.
Yeah, thank you, Apurva, for having me. And I really look forward to the next episode as well. And it's my sincere appeal to all the parents and students out there. This is my attempt to reach out to more students and help them make the right decision about their career choices. So I would request you to please share, like this, and spread the word. Thank you. Have a good one.